Welcome to my English podcast.
Learn, practice, and speak with confidence.
Hey everyone. Welcome back to my English podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Mia, and today's episode is for anyone who feels stuck, quiet, unsure, or maybe even a little scared to speak English out loud.
Yeah, if you've ever avoided speaking because you didn't want to sound wrong or silly, we get it. We've heard it from so many learners. I know what I want to say, but I just can't get the words out.
Or, I don't want people to judge my grammar.
Or even, I understand everything, but I freeze when I try to speak.
If that sounds like you, today's episode is your quiet push forward. We're calling it One Sentence to Break Your Comfort Zone.
And as always, we've got our expert Mrs. Tina here to guide us. She's going to show us how small, simple English sentences, used in the right way, can slowly break the walls of fear and build the courage to speak.
Mrs. Tina, we're so excited for this one.
Thanks, Mia. Thanks, Max. This topic is close to my heart because comfort zones are not just about fear, they're also about safety. And sometimes we stay quiet not because we're lazy or not ready, but because we're protecting ourselves from discomfort or embarrassment.
That makes sense. I think a lot of people blame themselves when they can't speak.
Yes, and that blame creates even more fear. But here's the truth. You don't need to destroy your comfort zone. You just need to stretch it, a little bit at a time.
So let's talk about that. What does one sentence really mean in this context?
It means choosing one simple, repeatable English sentence that you say out loud each day. No pressure, no performance. Just a small act of courage.
Can you give us an example?
Of course. Here are a few you can start with. Today is a good day. I am learning, and that's enough. I can speak English, even if it's not perfect. I'm trying, and I'm proud.
Wow, those aren't just sentences. They're like little confidence boosts.
Exactly. And the reason they work is because they're short, positive, and safe. You're not asking yourself to give a speech. You're just saying one thing clearly, kindly, and with intention.
So the goal is not grammar or vocabulary, it's bravery.
Yes. It's emotional training. You're teaching your brain, it's safe to speak. And over time, your fear reduces. Your voice becomes more familiar to you. Your thoughts become more organized.
I love that. So let's say someone wants to try this today. What should they do?
Here's a simple step-by-step. Choose your sentence for the day. Say it in a mirror. Or while walking. Or while making tea. Say it slowly. Feel each word. Repeat it 3 times. That's enough. Smile afterward, even if it feels awkward.
That last one is powerful. Smiling changes how you feel about the moment.
Yes, and it signals to your nervous system, this is not danger. This is growth.
Can someone use the same sentence for many days?
Absolutely. In fact, I recommend using the same sentence for a full week. Let it become part of you. Once you feel a little more comfortable, change it. Add a new one. Maybe something you want to say in a real conversation.
So it's like building a personal library of safe sentences.
Yes. These are your go-to expressions. They reduce hesitation. They give you anchors when your mind goes blank.
That's amazing. I think sometimes we forget that spoken language is a muscle, and muscles need slow, gentle practice.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of one sentence. If you say just one sentence each day for 30 days, that's 30 moments of confidence you didn't have before. It adds up.
I'm curious, can we take this idea into real conversations?
Yes. That's the next step. You start by saying the sentence to yourself. Then maybe to a friend. Then maybe in a comment online. Then in a voice message. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. And soon you're living in English, not just learning it.
That sounds like freedom. And it starts with one small line.
Exactly. Because confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing.
And doing doesn't have to be loud or perfect. It just has to be real.
Coming up in the next part, we'll talk about what holds people back, what's really happening in your brain when you freeze, and how to gently shift it with practice.
Can't wait. This is where we start unlocking the psychology behind fear.
Welcome back. We talked about how just one simple English sentence, spoken out loud, can slowly stretch your comfort zone and build quiet confidence. But today, we're going a little deeper.
Yeah, because now we want to answer the big question. Why does speaking English feel so scary sometimes? Why does your mouth freeze even when your mind knows the words?
Mrs. Tina, you've worked with thousands of learners. What's really happening in our brain when we try to speak and just stop?
Great question. What most people don't realize is that fear of speaking is not about language, it's about emotional safety. Your brain has one main job: protect you. So, when you're about to speak English, especially in front of others, your brain asks, is this safe?
And if the answer is no, it blocks you?
Exactly. You freeze. Not because you're weak. Not because you don't know the words. But because your brain is trying to prevent embarrassment, judgment, or shame. It's saying, let's just stay quiet. It's safer here.
That explains a lot. I've had learners who could write perfect English, beautiful sentences, but they couldn't say a word out loud.
Right. Because writing is private. Speaking is exposed. It's vulnerable. You hear your own voice. You feel seen. And if you've ever been laughed at or corrected harshly, your brain remembers, and it builds a wall.
Wow, so what's the solution? How do we tell our brain, hey, it's okay now, I can speak?
With repetition and softness. You need to show your brain that speaking doesn't always lead to pain. That you can say one small thing and nothing bad happens. That's where our one-sentence habit comes in. It's like emotional retraining. You're proving, this moment is safe. My voice is safe. I am safe.
That's really powerful. So we're not just practicing English, we're healing something too.
Yes. Speaking a new language often touches deep emotional places. You're not just translating words. You're learning to be seen in a new way. That takes courage.
So for someone who feels really blocked, like they want to speak, but their mouth won't move, where do they begin?
Begin with no pressure. Literally, say your sentence in a whisper. Or even just mouth the words without sound. Then say them softly. Then normally. Here's a sample path. Whisper. I'm learning to speak. Soft voice. I'm allowed to try. Normal voice. Speaking helps me grow. Repeat that for a few days. The goal isn't perfect pronunciation, it's emotional safety.
This is starting to feel like therapy, honestly.
In some ways, it is. Learning to speak is deeply personal. That's why we approach it gently, not aggressively. Force creates fear, but kindness creates space.
Let's talk about that word, space. I've heard you say before, confidence grows in space. What does that mean?
It means when you give yourself emotional breathing room, no rushing, no judging, you give your nervous system a chance to relax. That's when learning flows. That's when your true voice comes out. When there's no pressure, only permission.
So basically, when we slow down, we learn faster?
Yes. It's a beautiful paradox. When you allow yourself to speak one sentence without fear, you prepare your brain for 10 more. But if you pressure yourself to speak 10 perfect sentences immediately, you freeze.
It's like planting seeds. You don't pull on them to grow faster, you water them.
Exactly. And each sentence you speak is a seed of courage. Whether it's, today I'm trying. Mistakes help me learn. I'm proud of my effort. Each one teaches your brain, this is safe. Keep going.
Okay, let's get even more practical. What are some simple daily moments where learners can use these sentences?
Great idea. Let's walk through a regular day. Morning, say one positive English sentence while brushing your teeth. Commuting, whisper one phrase while walking or sitting on the bus. At work, if possible, say thank you or good morning in English to someone, even just in your head. At lunch, think about what you're eating in English. Say, I'm eating rice and vegetables. Evening, before bed, say one kind sentence to yourself in English. I'm improving every day.
That feels so real, so natural. You're not adding time, you're adding intention.
Yes. And it makes your brain feel safe in daily English, not just study English. And the more familiar it feels, the more your comfort zone expands.
I love that. And it's so gentle. There's no stress here, just quiet, steady progress.
Exactly. And the sentence doesn't need to be smart or fancy. In fact, the simpler it is, the better. It's not about showing off. It's about showing up.
Coming up in the next part, we'll explore what happens when you finally use your sentence with another person, and how to do that without fear.
Yes. Real life use, real conversations, and real courage. Mrs. Tina, we'll need your magic again for that one.
Happy to share it. We're going to help people take the next brave step.
You know, one of the things I love most about this approach is how personal it feels. You're not learning for a test. You're learning for yourself. For your real life.
And at some point, that one sentence you've been whispering, practicing, repeating, it wants to leave the room. It wants to be heard by someone else.
Yes, and that's where it gets exciting and a little scary. Because now, it's not just about building confidence inside, it's about using it outside.
Absolutely. And this step is a gentle one too. You don't need to jump into deep conversations. Start with small, safe opportunities. For example, when a barista says, "Good morning," you smile and say it back. When someone asks, "How are you?" you respond with your practice sentence, "I'm doing well, thank you." You join an online English group and type just one short comment. "This helped me, thank you."
I think a lot of learners wait for the perfect moment to speak. But maybe the best way is to create small moments on purpose.
Exactly. Make the moment small, familiar, and repeatable. Your brain feels safe when it recognizes a pattern. So if you say good morning in English to the same coworker every day, soon your brain won't panic. It will relax. It will say, we've done this before.
That's such a smart trick. Repetition creates comfort.
And from comfort comes courage. You don't need 100 words. You just need one moment where you let your voice be heard.
Let's also talk about the fear of being corrected. A lot of learners tell me, what if I say it wrong and someone corrects me in front of others?
That's a real fear. And a valid one. But let's reframe it. What if we saw correction not as failure, but as connection? Think of it this way: if someone corrects you gently, they're helping you grow. They're showing they care. And if someone corrects you unkindly, that's not your mistake. That's their behavior.
So the key is learning to separate language learning from self-worth.
Exactly. You are not your mistakes. Your accent does not make you less intelligent. Your grammar does not decide your value. Speaking English is not a performance, it's communication. And communication is human.
I wish every learner could hear that. Because so many are carrying invisible pressure. Pressure to be perfect, to sound like a native, to never mess up.
And that pressure is heavy. So here's what I recommend. After you speak, say this to yourself every time. That was brave. That was enough. Say it even if you made a mistake. Say it even if you felt nervous. Because you showed up. And that's worth celebrating.
That phrase needs to be on a t-shirt. That was brave. That was enough.
Maybe we'll make one. But seriously, it's a mantra that rewires how you see yourself. Speaking becomes an act of self-trust, not self-judgment.
Let's imagine a simple conversation someone might have using just one or two of these safe sentences. Something small, like meeting a new neighbor.
Okay, here's an example. Neighbor: "Hi, I'm Sam." You: "Hi Sam, I'm Lena. Nice to meet you." Neighbor: "Nice to meet you too." You: "I'm learning English. I like to practice speaking." Just that. Short, kind, honest, and powerful.
And I love that last sentence. I like to practice speaking. It sets the tone. It invites patience. It says, I'm learning and I'm here.
Yes. And it often makes the other person respond with kindness. People respect honesty. And you'll be surprised how many smile and say, "You're doing great."
So, to anyone listening, here's your challenge. Think of one sentence you can say out loud today, to yourself or to someone else. And say it. Gently. Clearly. As a gift to yourself.
Not because it's perfect, not because it's easy, but because it's yours.
And if it feels scary, that's okay. Bravery doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you speak anyway, even with a small voice.
Coming up, we'll explore how to create a daily practice using these ideas, how to turn them into a personal ritual that grows with you. So you're not just learning English. You're becoming someone who lives in it.
So many people think speaking English has to feel big or dramatic. But what we're learning today is it can actually be small. It can be quiet. One sentence, one moment. That's how the real transformation begins.
And when that one moment feels safe, you want to try again. And again. Until suddenly you look back and realize you're not afraid anymore.
Exactly. And that's where routine comes in. Not the strict kind. I'm talking about soft repetition. Daily practice that feels gentle, doable, and personal. Something that becomes part of your life without pressure.
Let's help our listeners build that. A simple routine, using the one-sentence idea that they can follow every day.
All right. Think of this like a 5-minute habit. You don't need a desk. You don't need silence. You just need a little pocket of time and a willingness to speak. Here's how you can do it. Step 1, choose a sentence. Just one. It can be something positive, kind, or practical. Like, I'm learning to speak clearly. English is part of my journey. I can make mistakes and still grow. Step 2, say it 3 times out loud. Slowly. With feeling. Not for grammar, just for presence. Step 3, use that sentence during the day. Speak it to yourself while walking. Whisper it while washing dishes. Say it in your head while waiting in line. Step 4, at night, write it down once. Then write a quick reflection. How did I feel saying this today? Even one word is enough.
I really like that last step. Writing helps things settle in your mind. It makes your progress feel real.
Yes. And reflection tells your brain, this matters to me. That feeling keeps you consistent.
Let's take this further. What if someone wants to create a small list of go-to sentences? Like a little emotional toolbox they can pull from when they feel nervous.
That's a fantastic idea. In fact, I recommend building what I call your confidence stack, a group of 5 to 10 personal sentences that comfort you, encourage you, or remind you who you are. Let me give you some examples. My English doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. Speaking slowly is still speaking. I learn more every time I try. I am more than my grammar mistakes. Today, I'll say one thing out loud, and that's enough. These sentences aren't rules. They're emotional anchors. You return to them whenever you feel nervous, stuck, or invisible.
And they're so personal. Not like something from a textbook. More like something a friend would whisper to you before you do something brave.
That's exactly the feeling. Because learning a language isn't just academic, it's emotional. And when your emotions feel supported, your brain opens up. You stop fighting with yourself. You start listening to yourself.
Can we help people write their own? Like give them a template they can use to build new sentences?
Yes, let's do that. Here are 3 simple templates. I am learning to verb, and that's okay. Example. I am learning to speak slowly, and that's okay. Even if I make mistake, I can still positive action. Example. Even if I forget words, I can still connect. Speaking is hard, but encouraging truth. Example. Speaking is hard, but every try makes me better. You can change the verbs. Add your own words. The goal is to create something that sounds like you. Something you'd want to hear on a difficult day.
And once you have a few of these, you don't feel so stuck when fear shows up. You've already prepared your words. You've already practiced your kindness.
I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of this. You're not just building a habit, you're building a relationship with your voice, with your courage, with your growth.
Yes. And when that relationship is strong, your learning becomes smoother. Less resistance. More flow.
Let's take a minute and go back to something you said earlier. The idea of making your practice part of your real day. Not adding more time but weaving it in. Can we show our listeners what that looks like hour by hour?
Absolutely. Let me walk you through a sample day, one that works even for busy people. Morning, 7 a.m. while brushing your teeth, say your sentence of the day. Just once. No pressure. Breakfast, 8 a.m. Look at what you're eating and describe it in one simple English sentence. I'm eating eggs and toast. Commute or walk, 9 a.m. Repeat your confidence sentence in your mind. Whisper it if you're alone. During work/school break, 1 p.m. Take 2 minutes to write your sentence in a notebook or note app. Add one new word if you feel like it. Evening, 6 p.m. Say your sentence again while preparing dinner. Add one variation if possible. Before bed, 10 p.m. Write the sentence one last time. Then write one kind thought about your effort. Even if you only follow a few of these, that's already a huge win. You've made speaking part of your world.
That doesn't feel heavy. It feels doable. It's like building language around your life instead of fitting your life into language.
Exactly. That's how real learning works. It's not about memorizing pages. It's about building connection, sentence by sentence.
I have one more question I think many listeners are wondering right now. How long before I feel different? Like, how long does it take for this practice to start working?
Beautiful question. And the answer is, you'll feel different in a few days. But you'll feel changed in a few weeks. The moment you speak your sentence with honesty, something shifts inside. The moment you repeat it without fear, you feel stronger. And after 21 to 30 days of small, consistent effort, your comfort zone will no longer feel like a cage. It will feel like a home you're expanding.
That's so encouraging. I think a lot of people just need that tiny sign, something to tell them, hey, it's working.
And you'll notice it in small ways. You speak without overthinking. You pause less. You smile after you say something. You remember what you said. Those are your signs. Quiet ones, but real.
Let's help people prepare for the only obstacle now, consistency. Because staying with this for 30 days sounds amazing, but life gets busy. Motivation drops. What can we do?
Here's what I suggest. Link it to a daily activity. Attach your sentence practice to something you already do, like brushing your teeth or walking your dog. Set a 3-minute timer. Short time equals less pressure equals more follow-through. Track it softly. Use a small notebook, a calendar, or even a colored sticker. No pressure, just visual proof that you showed up. Use a reminder sentence. On low-energy days, say, even if I do just one thing today, I'm still growing. And most importantly, celebrate effort, not outcome. If you spoke, you succeeded. That's the rule.
This might be my favorite episode we've ever done. It feels like we're not just teaching English. We're helping people build confidence with language, yes, but also with themselves.
That's the heart of it. Your words shape your world. And when you practice speaking with love, you start seeing yourself differently.
Up next, we'll share how this one-sentence practice grows over time, how to turn it into longer phrases, real conversations, and even public speaking if that's your goal. But always in a soft, step-by-step way.
And we'll also share stories from real learners, people just like you, who started with one sentence and now feel confident speaking in real life.
They're beautiful stories. And they remind us, no voice is too small. No effort is wasted. And no learner is alone.
We've talked so much today about how powerful one sentence can be. And it's not just theory, it's not just a nice idea. This practice is real, it works. And we've seen it change lives.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because there's something incredibly inspiring about hearing real stories, people just like our listeners, who've used this method to quietly, steadily transform how they speak and how they see themselves.
I'd love to share a few. I've worked with students from so many different places and backgrounds, and these stories remind me that bravery looks different for everyone, but it always starts with a small step. There's a man named Raj from India. He's a software engineer. Brilliant mind. But every time his team had meetings in English, he stayed quiet. Not because he didn't understand, but because he feared sounding wrong. So I gave him one sentence. I have a quick thought. He practiced it for 2 weeks. Out loud. In the mirror. And then, during a meeting when everyone was silent, he finally said, I have a quick thought. That was it. No big speech. But it opened the door. Today, he leads his own team. Still quiet, still calm, but no longer afraid to speak.
That gave me chills. Because that sentence, it's not flashy. It's not impressive. But it's human. It's real.
Exactly. Another story. A woman named Isabella from Brazil. She moved to Canada and avoided grocery stores because she was scared of talking to cashiers. She felt embarrassed. Her one sentence became, I'm still learning English. That sentence made her feel safe. It let her be honest. So the next time she went to the store and the cashier asked, How's your day? She smiled and said, I'm still learning English. The cashier smiled back and said, You're doing great. That kindness changed everything. Now, Isabella starts conversations with that same line. She says it makes her feel like she belongs, even if she makes mistakes.
And I bet so many people listening right now are exactly where Raj and Isabella were. Quiet, waiting, wondering if they'll ever speak freely.
Yes, and the answer is you will. But not by jumping. By stepping. One sentence. Spoken softly. Repeated kindly. That's how the wall breaks. That's how the fear fades.
And you know what I love about both stories? They didn't need a classroom. They didn't need perfect grammar. They just needed a moment and the courage to take it.
That's the secret. Most breakthroughs don't happen in big speeches. They happen in small sentences. In ordinary places. A kitchen. A meeting. A grocery store.
So let's help our listeners find that moment today. If you had to give one final sentence they could try, something they could say right now wherever they are, what would it be?
I'd give them this. I am allowed to sound like a learner. Say it now with me. I am allowed to sound like a learner. Let your voice shake. Let it feel weird. But say it. Because once you allow that, you stop trying to sound perfect and start sounding real.
That's such a freeing sentence. It gives you permission to be in progress.
Yes. And progress feels better than pressure. Every time.
Okay, here's something fun. Let's build a final listener challenge. Something simple they can do after this episode ends.
Great idea. Here it is, the one sentence challenge. Pick one sentence from today's episode, or write your own. Say it out loud 3 times today. Once in the morning, once during the day, and once before bed. Then write down how you felt. Even one word, calm, nervous, strong, hopeful. Repeat this for 7 days. Choose a new sentence each day if you'd like. Or keep the same one. By the end of the week, your voice will feel less like a stranger and more like a friend.
I love that. It's simple, real, and something you can actually stick to.
And we want to hear from you. Send us a voice message or comment with your favorite one-sentence affirmation. We might share it in a future episode.
Please do. And remember, you are not too late. You are not behind. If you speak today, you're already ahead of yesterday.
And hey, if your voice shakes, speak anyway. If your words get stuck, speak anyway. Because the only way to build confidence is by doing the thing you're afraid of, one small sentence at a time.
This was such a meaningful conversation. I hope everyone listening knows you're not alone in this journey. We're learning, growing, and practicing right beside you.
Thank you both. And thank you to our listeners. Your voice matters. Whether it's loud or soft, polished or imperfect, it matters.
We'll see you in the next episode. And until then, speak something. Anything. One sentence. Out loud. For you.
Bye for now, and remember, that was brave, that was enough,